Now you must still insult those people and call them insensuous, say they are crazy people. Who does that? And the leader with the majority constituency from those people, you expect me to fold my arms and say, no, those are kids. Those are adults.
Before I start, are you well? Are you good?
I'm good, my brother.
You're fine?
I'm fine.
We can hit?
Hit.
I can go hard.
Go as hard as you can.
Jeez. So I'd like to start off with the OpenChats episode, and I'm going to give a mention and a bit of a shout out to these guys. I thought they were kids. People are saying they're a bit old. And if I'm repeating anyone's names, because I don't watch OpenChats myself, I apologize. Umthokozi Smethula, Umtho, Sinotando Kama or Rama, Osino, Sonwabile Lifa, Hlalele, Bosisiwe Khadebe, and M or Am. And again, I apologize because I don't watch OpenChats, so I don't know these guys like that. The episode would do 1.3 million views before it was removed on YouTube. On the 8th of August, there'd be something published where they would apologize. We acknowledge the hurt caused by the clip that continues to circulate online and communicate our genuine regret for that. The intention was never to cause harm or disrespect the colored community. OpenChats is a platform centered on open conversations, which at times touch on sensitive topics. We should conduct our conversations in a respectful manner. The South African Human Rights Commission has currently launched an investigation into the matter. As we start, OpenChats, your thoughts, the video that you made, which was emotional, I thought a bit aggressive. Why did you want OpenChats cancelled? And how are your feelings now around that episode?
Well, firstly, let me put it this way. Pino, I don't believe in cancel culture. Let me start there.
Okay.
I believe in consequence culture. Because I was in jail. And one thing I've learned in jail, a lot of the gents in prison will tell you, Ish, I would not have been here if my mom did tell my dad what I was busy with. My mom will say to me, if you do it again, I'm going to tell your father. If I catch you again with drugs, I'm going to tell your father. If you steal again, I'm going to tell your father. But it never gets to them telling the father. And most of them sit there doing a life sentence and they're like, just maybe, if they told my father, I would not have been here. Now, I believe in consequence culture. I tweeted and I said, no one wants to see these children destroyed. But if we do nothing about such conduct and such utterances that hurt a whole race, we are destroying them. And there was one guy called Marvin January in the PA, and I'll send it to you. He posted, he said, the way I know our president, he's going to be the one helping those kids on the way to redemption or thing. So if people wanted me as a leader, where a majority of my constituency are colored people, for me to say nothing, to do nothing, to not act, after they have been accused by this chat, open chat group.
OpenChat, yeah.
And worse than, you should see the follow-up apology. It's full of jokes. Now, this is deeper. This is deeper than just what transpired between us and them. You know, these kids don't know that in every race there's some people that takes things out of their hands. People didn't see the call that was like, can somebody give us the address of those kids? Where does these kids go? And I was the one that called those people. I said, no, don't do that. I'm handling this. But people don't see that. Those kids don't know who they're messing with. Not in me, but every race there's people that will take anything out of context. In the white race, black race, Indian race, colored race. I would never destroy those kids. But I need to teach them. You don't say that about people for your own safety, for people's dignity. You don't do that. But colored people in this country, and nobody wants to have this conversation. Nobody wants to have this conversation. It's so easy to stereotype colored people. From the front teeth, to them being gangsters, to them being alcoholics, to them being... It's so easy. And colored people are like No more. We cannot continue to have colored people be treated in a manner that they are being treated in this country. Politically, socially, colored people are not being shown respect. And I can show you proof. A lot of my black friends will say, why is it colored people don't want to be black? I think you might have heard that. Colored people don't want to be black. No. We want to be African like you. Now, smart people don't know what's happening there. The smartest black people I've known don't know that if you are black African, there's black African and there's black. Colors are considered black in this country. And you are being considered African. A colored person can't become African in South Africa. He can't. And opportunities, the law says all opportunities, most opportunities should go to black people, in particular Africans. And that's why you see colored people don't get hired. CVs going nowhere. Colored people don't get funding from NASFAS. Only a small majority. It's Armageddon in our communities. 15 colored boys die every day in South Africa. And the leaders of this country are wearing scarves of Hamas, of Palestine, for the death in Palestine. But we are here. 2016, 9 colored boys were shot dead every day. And you know what was the headline? What was the biggest campaign? Save the rhino. Nobody is going to save us. Colored people, nobody speaks for them. I want you to go and see what happens in Noordgesig. The children of Noordgesig will see soccer clinics, coaching clinics, everything going to Soweto. Nothing past them. It is bad. It is very, very, very bad. Now you must still insult those people and call them insensuous, say they are crazy people. Who does that? And the leader with a majority constituency from those people, you expect me to fold my arms and say, no, those are kids. Those are adults. But I would never have cancelled them. But I took action and I called out the people that wanted the addresses. I called them out. I called them and say, don't do that. I'm handling this matter.
It would be DSTV, the spokesperson, Suzanne Cater, who would respond and say, look, the contract actually ended on the 25th of July because many people, maybe not yourself, were calling for DSTV to remove OpenChats. So you realized, I saw that you made a video, that it's not on SAPC, it was on DSTV. And Suzanne said that that episode was never on DSTV. You don't want them cancelled. What does consequence culture look like for them, number one? And number two, do you think these kids were just unlucky because there's a community, a colored community, that is yearning to be heard and to be seen? And it just so happened that someone maybe lit a fuse to open that conversation.
I wouldn't say they were, I would say they were very unlucky. I'll tell you why I'm saying they were very unlucky. It wasn't strange for them to say that.
Yeah.
Because that has been said by so many people.
100%.
It wasn't strange for them. That's why they were very unlucky. That they caught the colored community at a stage where colored community is standing up now. Where colored community is saying, no more. Those kids would not have said those things if it wasn't the norm. It's just that they caught the bullets. They caught the fire. Because that has been the norm for colored people. Colored people are dangerous. Hey, colored people are dangerous. You know the stereotypes. You know, Penwell, I have the fortune of being black and colored. How can you be black and Xhosa and I can't be black and colored? Nonsense. I'm black and colored. I speak when I'm in black, and I'm blessed to be black and to be colored. And if I said with my black friends, I would be like, no worry, boy, hi, never, hi, lichale. Batlanya. I speak slang black, slang Sotho, real Sotho. En dan tel ek massake hoe lyk hulle? Duidelik. Alles maak vol my broer. I speak slang Afrikaans. I speak diep Afrikaans. Onder geen omstandighede mag u. Dat is vergaande. That is who I am. I'm not, race is not exclusive. I'm black and I'm Xhosa. So I'm black and I'm colored. You black and Xhosa. My friend, I just spoke to now, he's Zulu and black. So I'm black and colored. What you must understand is that the smartest black people in this country don't want to hear what I'm saying to them regarding colored people. Colored people are the first nation of South Africa. By the United Nations confirmed that. Jan van Riebeeck found colored people when he came here in 1652 on dromedaris in the Kaap van Goede Hoop with his wife Maria de Quella. And those people today are being told they're not African. What are we? Why don't you want to speak about that? Why can't colored people, if we are not African, we've never been to Europe, the majority of us. We've never been to Asia. We've never been to the Middle East. We were born here. But legislatively, this government, in 1994, Mandela's government decided, and if I can add something which breaks me, in 1986, Penal, P.W. Botha said colored people can join the tricameral parliament together with Indian people. An Indian leader called Amichan Rajbansi and a colored leader called Reverend Ellen Hendrickson then made a call to coloreds and Rajbansi to Indians. And I remember clearly, colored people said, for as long as black people are not part of the tricameral parliament, we will not be part of the tricameral parliament. Our struggle was a shared struggle. When black people, when Andrew Zondo was killed, Anton French was killed by the police. When Steve Biko was killed by the police, Ashley Kriel was killed by the police. When Walter Sisulu was in prison, Neville Alexander was in prison. When Harry the Strandloper was on Robben Island, Nelson Mandela was on Robben Island. When you guys have the Soweto uprising, massacre, we had the Etlun massacre. Our struggle was a shared struggle. The first commander to die for MK was Basil February. There was never a difference between black and white and colored. When Mandela came out in the Western Cape, they voted for Nelson Mandela because there was no difference between us. We are one people. It is the ANC government that said, no, you are black as a colored and Penuel is African. That's where we differ. We don't want to differ. Now you say to us, oh, you don't want to be black. No, we want to be African like you. We want to, because we died like you died. We fought like you fought. I told you names on this side when they hanged Solomon Mahlangu, they hanged Mr. Rivers. Our struggle was intertwined, but people are too angry and too woke to accept that. No one can argue me with that. But why is it today when a colored child and a black child walk into a shop, into a job interview, and they score the same points, why is it legislatively that a black should be hired?
Let's get into that a little bit. I'll get back to the questions. The history of this country is, of course, very complicated, and many people fought for the liberation we have today, which sadly is mostly political, not economic so much, and a big chunk of the land still hasn't been given back to the people. When you look at the tweets, when you look at the social media storm that has been lit by this OpenChats clip, you realize that there's a lot of fighting and there's a lot of negativity on both sides, black and colored. There seems to be racism on both sides. I know there's many people that say black people can't be racist. I believe when you're prejudiced against another race, you're racist. There's a lot of racism and there's a deep issue. And you're very right that our government from 94 hasn't resolved this. The argument for prioritizing the black African child over the colored, which should be colored African child, is that colored seem to have been favored during apartheid. And that maybe needs to be one of the conversations. And for you to maybe acknowledge, was that really happening? Or is that a misnomer? Because even if you go to places like the Western Cape, which has got a huge colored community, it seems like white people who are still the most well-off when it comes to income inequality that we have, they still seem to treat colored people better. And for many black people, the cries that you hear on the ground is that colored people still have a chip on their shoulder where they feel like they're better than black people.
No, that is true. It's true. Colored people had it better rights, better access. I know, because I grew up black and colored. When I go to my cousin's house, my family's house in the township, I must use the bucket toilet. But we on the colored side had flushing toilets. My first march, which I arranged in Heidedal, was in solidarity with my cousins and the black kids at his school, because they didn't have textbooks. They had to buy them while we got them for free. And I, at a young age, arranged a march of 5,000 people in Heidedal, who marching to the township in solidarity for books. But you know what makes this so hurtful? Despite colored people getting those privileges, they said, we don't want this if our black people don't have this.
Do you really believe what you're saying? Do you really believe colored people in this country are willing to sacrifice any potential? Of which, look, I think the colored community is really suffering and struggling. And they've been forgotten even by this new government. Do you really think they see themselves as on the same level as black Africans?
No.
And they're willing to struggle and fight for them?
No. I'm saying by the time when Ashley Creel was killed, by the time when Anton French was killed, by the time when Neville Alexander was in prison, by the time that the Etlon massacre happened, they were willing to do that. But you must understand, which brings me to later I'll answer about this K word. You must understand, when you talk about colored people, you talk about a beaten down people. A beaten down people. A people that were so active in the struggle that they are now saying we were not white enough during apartheid. We are not black enough. There's some anger that has manifested over 3 decades. I see it in my community. And that anger manifests itself in racism, in deep hate, in deep disappointment. And I'm not making excuse for colored people. But you know, colored people did vote for the government of Nelson Mandela. And when they realized this government is doing nothing for them, they then went to the Western Cape, the DA. The majority of the DA voters are colored people.
That's correct.
And then the DA did the very same thing that the ANC is doing to them. And what did they do? They said, now we're going to vote PA. We have taken wards. We take wards every by-election. This last month alone, we've taken Mossel Bay, we've taken Drakensberg, we've taken George twice, we've taken Eiselsdorp, we've taken Matsikama, we've taken El Rado Park, we've taken Eden Park, we've taken Ennedale, we've taken Rege Park. These were DA wards and ANC wards. We've taken Sutherland from the ANC. Now, I am not excusing. There is colors that are racist, as there is blacks and whites and Indians. But I'm saying to you that the colored people are disappointed people. Penel, we are number 1 when it comes to alcohol fetal syndrome. We are number 1 when it comes to children school-going age that's not in school. We are number 1 when it comes to children in school that don't finish matric. We are number 1 when it comes to per capita people that go into prison. We are number 1 when it comes to people finishing matric and don't get university entrance. There's a problem there. Why is it that I will make you an example with I was campaigning in PA, and may soul rest in peace. But every day when I was campaigning there was 3 people being shot dead in Galvindale, in Shorter, every day. And I was there. And I would go to the families, I'm sorry, your child has been shot dead. But then I opened the newspaper the next day and I didn't see them even writing about the murders. Then there was a lady called Panayoti, a teacher, primary school teacher that was killed, a white one. I was there for 22 days, and every day she was in the newspaper front page. Her story, I'm saying that some of the things that has happened to the color community is self-inflicted. But the majority of things that happened to the color community, they needed, it's a hurt people. They are hurt. They believed in this democracy. They marched for this, they fought for this democracy. And they have nothing to show for it. You ask yourself, how will you feel if your leaders are having moments of silences for people? But if you take the death in El Dorado Park, Rege Park, Westbury, Shorter, Wentworth, and the Cape Flats, and you put all those deaths per day together, it's more deaths than in Ramallah, in Palestine. But you don't come to our people and say, it's for 30 years we've been dying like dogs. Like, literally like dogs. I'll tell you a story which I never thought something can haunt me. There's a boy that has been shot dead. And this is our story every day. In Westbury. And his mother, he was shot dead and his body was laying in the street. And the dog and the mother was waiting for the paramedics. She was still alive and the paramedics were scared to come out. And then the Lakesvar, what you call them, the people that come to get the dead.
The people from the morgue, the mortuary.
Yeah, they took long. Yeah, no, so they took long. And so you can't touch the body. And the dog started licking the blood of your child laying there in the street. And she had to go and take a blanket to close him. That's the story. Our children, I saw a picture of our kids playing next to dead bodies or while they're waiting for the morgue van, the death van. It is normalized for colored kids to see bodies in the street. But this is our story. We're not wanting sympathy. If we wanted sympathy, we would not have started to mobilize the community. But you know, if you look at South Africa, the color community are screaming to be heard and nobody's hearing them. But I'm not discounting. I look at Langa. I look at Guguletu. Those people in that area. In Langa, the rats are eating toes of babies. Kalicha stink because of the sewage constantly running in the street. Some of those areas are worse off than colored people, colored areas. But the difference is, their marginalization is not legislated like the colored marginalization is. We just want to be heard as colored people. And there's some black people that live worse than colored people, worse in this country. Worse. But when we talk about the group, this one group, all they want to be is thing. Here's the most easiest example I'm going to make you. Xhosa chiefs, Zulu kings, Xhosa kings, they all get paid. Chiefs get bakkies. Traditional chiefs get bakkies, right? Khoisan kings get nothing. Khoisan chiefs get nothing. I can show you many, many different things. You go to a colored police station, you'll be hard-pressed to find colored people there. You'll find black policemen there. They don't know they don't know Afrikaans. The complainant don't know English. But you must take a statement from that person. You go to the clinic. The nurses there, they don't know Afrikaans. The patient don't know English. These are things we deal with every day. And we just tired as a community to deal with it.
You mentioned something, and I know if I skip past it, it might be problematic. You spoke about Jan van Riebeeck coming in 1652 and meeting colored people. I'd like to assume you're speaking about the Khoi and the San,
Yes.
of which there are many colored people who link their lineage to either a white person and a Xhosa person in the Eastern Cape or in the Cape, a mix of maybe Khoi and San with white people. The Indians would come in KZN. The Malaysians and others from Asia would also be brought in. So the mix becomes more varied than just the Khoi and the San that were found, because some coloreds identify as descendants of Khoi and San and some don't. I'm not sure if you do the same or if you only recognize Khoi and San descendants as colored.
Khoi and San is not colored. If you go back in history, there's no difference between black and colored.
I'd assume, that the term colored at the time is similar to the term colored in places like America, where it was a term for black people at the time, and not mixed as we see it today.
I think, and I'm not a champion of history, but I'm saying I think that in the reason why Nelson Mandela's release was so warmly welcomed by colored people, the reason why they went out in their numbers to vote for the ANC, because we together.